You don't have my consent.
Too late. All right, so starting off, we are going to do our all-time starting five. So it'll be interesting to see how far back we all go. So we're going to start, and I'm just going to go around. The way that my camera or my video is set up, I see Mike and then me and then Carter and then Matt and then Charlie is kind of my organization.
I see all of you. You can make it see everyone.
I see it. I know I see everybody, but I'm just meaning that's the order that we're going to go in to keep it a little bit.
How do you do that?
Oh, okay.
Keep it fresh or whatever.
All right. You'll get my opinion last.
Yeah. Well, no, we're going to get Charlie's last.
No, Charlie's last. Yeah.
So,
how do you see everyone?
Oh, there's a gallery view.
It's not on phones.
Or something like
that. You can't do it on phones.
Oh, tragic.
You can do. I thought you could do 2 on a phone.
You could do participants, and it'll show 4 vertically.
Oh, okay. On a phone.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you.
So that's everybody but yourself, I guess. Hopefully. Anyway, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go one at a time, one position at a time. If you want to say, like, I'm planning on saying, I would have loved to choose this person and this person, but I landed on this person. You can say why if you want, but you got to give me a definite, this is who my number one guy is. All right, starting with Mike Harris and point guard. Go.
For me, I was going to go. So, I was stuck between the 3. I was going to do Magic, Chris Paul, or John Stockton. And I think for, pure point guard, you want somebody running the floor, I got to go Magic.
Amen, brother.
And took mine, man.
All right, I was along a similar line, although kind of thinking that same way is that I'm more of a true point guard kind of a guy, that I want a point guard to actually pass. So it was tough because there was a couple of people on the list that would have been good choices. So actually I put my number 3, so he doesn't make the top 1, but my number 3, even though he's not my favorite passer, I would put Steph Curry because the numbers just speak pretty loudly. But number 2, I got to go because, again, he did show up as more often than not. He was listed as a point guard. So I am going to put Jerry West, Mr. Clutch, as my number 2. But I got to go the same thing. If I want someone passing the ball, it's got to be Magic Johnson, number 1. Carter.
Oh, it's me? All right. I don't want to sound repetitive, but yes, I did have Magic as my number 1 point guard. And the only other point guard I had in mind was Steph Curry as well, just because greatest shooter of all time. But yeah, Magic, great playmaker, great defender. He's very versatile. You can play anywhere, but he's playing the point guard position. What is he, 6'8", 6'9"?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I feel like that's the perfect point guard. So I'm going Magic Johnson.
Good man, Matthew Dirks.
All right, I'm seeing a theme here. I went Magic too. I wanted to go Nash or Kidd or someone like that, but I mean, I feel like Magic Johnson is just a better version of them. Taller, better rebounder, defender, runs the floor. It's my type of point guard right there.
Good deal. And last but not least, Charlie.
Okay, I was gonna do Magic, but I was like, nah, when I was picking, because look at Curry, man. He's an amazing shooter.
Look at Curry, man.
Yeah, look at Curry, man. He's an amazing shooter. He doesn't need to take the big shots. I have other guys on my teams who will take the big shots. He might be a defensive liability, but we can hide him on one of their worst players. And he's just an unbelievable shooter, and I think that will bring my team to a very successful season, along with my other players.
That's fair. That's fair.
So then you're saying, so is he actually the best of all time, or would he just fit on your team the best?
He's the best of all time.
Oh, okay. You're
And
still
he fit
going
on
with
my
best of
team.
all time. Okay, for both of those. Because yeah, for me, and that was my strike against Curry. I don't know how great a passer I would say Steph Curry is. If I was going straight
he's unselfish
passer,
though. But he's very unselfish.
he is. But that's kind of
ever. He's pretty unselfish.
It's true, but isn't that more of the team mentality? That's kind of how they built the Warriors.
That's why I like him.
It could be.
He's a perfect role model. He is a perfect leader. If your leader is trying to work hard at every aspect of the game, that shows other players how they should play.
You put Steph Curry on the Celtics. What kind of player do you get?
The Celtics today?
Yeah.
The same type of player.
You think so?
Better than Kemba Walker.
Right, but he's a different, the culture, though, would he be as pass happy on a different team? You put him on the Rockets. You put him on the Rockets with
That's a
Harden.
different system. You can't.
That's my
Yeah.
point. Is he
They
the
shoot a lot of
system?
threes, the Rockets.
I mean,
They
if
do.
he gets put on a team with like good team players and not like a team with like Harden who wants all the shots, he could bloom and be good. But like once he starts playing with other selfish players, it goes downhill. Just like any other team.
Interesting. Because like for me, yeah, it's that thought of like what makes a great point guard. And is it that because Magic could do both? He was a passer, but he could also shoot plenty. But like, yeah, in today's day and age, isn't there more of that point? We want the point guy to either slash or to be able to shoot from outside. Because was Magic
Yeah, you
that
need a
great of a
slash.
3-pointer? I don't think
No.
that was really his game.
Magic?
Yeah.
No,
Did
no.
Magic do as well today if he couldn't shoot the 3? I mean, not that he can't.
No, I mean, obviously he's not as good a shooter as Curry, but I
He's
don't
also
think you need him to
6'9".
shoot. I don't like when I was thinking about the team. I don't need Magic to take shots. I need Magic to distribute and rebound and play defense.
Interesting. So, because from those three, yeah, I don't think I would put Steph Curry defending people.
No.
Yep. But I don't need him. I can hide him on the team's worst player. So
Okay.
Yeah, but who?
But it's an
If we're
all-time
doing
team.
it like
There's
this,
no
then
one's
who's
gonna
the
be
team's
the
worst player?
Exactly. Imagine they're going against Harden.
Um,
Yeah,
who's
the
going to
team's
guard
worst player is
Harden?
like Kevin
I ain't
Durant.
putting Harden on my team, bro.
Or imagine you go against AI. Who's going to be guarding Iverson?
I
Yeah,
will
but
have
who is
my
Iverson
small
going to be
forward
guarding too? So
You can
it'll
put
even
Curry
I'll
on
have-
AI. You could put
I will
Curry
have
on
my
AI.
shooting guard AI.
You can put Curry on AI. All right. Okay. So moving
Or we could
on.
front zone.
Reverse order.
Next
reverse
round.
order.
Reverse order. Okay, we'll start reverse order with shooting guard Charlie.
Okay, I don't know if this one counts, but on Basketball Reference, it said they were small forward, power forward, shooting guard. So,
Okay.
He's gonna 6'1".
Really?
Oh, he's
Okay,
going
because like when I looked at Basketball Reference, I saw specific listings for SG versus SF.
No, I get what he means.
But okay,
I like
we'll
type
see.
the
We'll
player.
see.
KD, my shooting guard.
Wow, of all time.
You're
Yes.
just gonna build the Warriors.
I'm sorry. Okay, but that's fine. We're supposed to
Nate?
just name names right now. So
Okay.
Matthew Dirks.
Okay. Think about
Oh,
it. He's a guy.
2017
Wait. No explaining yet. I'm sorry. Or no, wait, you can explain, but there's
Wait,
no
what?
back and forth yet.
Bro,
Okay. KD is a great scorer, and his length on the defensive end is a big present. He might be having to guard a quicker guy than him, but he's also 6'10" and long, which means he can give another half step behind him. And he is just unguardable. He is and he's clutch. He has the clutch factor, and he's unguardable. And he scores.
Yep. All right, Matthew Dirks, shooting guard.
I'm going for the obvious pick of Michael Jordan, and I don't think I need to explain much. So the numbers do it themselves.
It's true. All right, Cardizel.
You know, I was thinking about going MJ, but I just
It's
realized
going Kobe.
we're going with
Seriously?
Bean.
Come
Kobe, Bean,
on.
Bryant.
All right.
Okay.
5 rings. All I gotta say.
That's fine.
I know MJ has
6 is more than 5. So
That's big. in self
6 is
argument.
more
All
than
right,
5,
whatever.
Carter.
Yeah. See, for me, so shooting guard was a tough one because I've been a Jordan hater for a long time, especially as an old Laker fan. But shooting guard, because at least as I was looking at the listing, is that I always see Durant listed as a small forward, LeBron as a small forward, like all of those as more small forwards. Shooting guard, there's actually a pretty thin list, I feel. And so I had no choice. Like, I am going to put Kobe number 2. And to be honest, like, I've never been a big fan of either of their games because, like, we've been talking about, like, they are shoot first, shoot second, maybe shoot third, and then pass if they have to.
It's a shooting guard, though.
But that's true. But for me, I want a shooting guard to pass some. But you can't, and that's even numbers
See,
wise.
but then
I feel
who?
like you can't argue with Jordan. Like, I wish you could, but you can't. And like, same thing, Kobe. I'd put Kobe number 2, but like Jordan would still be my pick. Mike?
Yeah, I'm picking Jordan. I would love to pick Kobe, but like Kobe's a better shooter. Jordan's a better defender. Kobe was more skilled probably, but like, I don't know. It's a coin toss between those two, like who I'd want.
Yeah.
Jordan has a better kind of pedigree, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and I think some of the challenge is, I think back in the day, if you go back to like the 60s and stuff like that, I think they categorized a lot of shooting guards as point guards. I mean, they called Jerry West a point guard. They called Oscar Robertson a point guard. A lot of people that I think today would probably be shooting guards are still listed as point guards. So that makes it pretty thin. Like I saw some about like Clive Drexler and Tracy McGrady. Even Tracy McGrady, I'd put him as a small forward.
That dude was a baller.
Thabo Cephalosha.
No, Wade is a possibility.
D
Wade. Yeah, I was thinking
D Wade really all time? Really?
Yeah. I think so.
Because for me, and that was the thing. Even sorry, Mike, go ahead.
He was like, no, he had a limited career, and he didn't have the support that the other guys had.
Right. And for me, I feel like that's the thing with Jordan and Kobe, and really even going beyond, like, because none of us said, although I guess because somehow we call James Harden a point guard. I don't know.
He's a
shooting guard.
He would be a full-on shooting guard to me. But I feel like looking at their numbers, and even Curry's numbers, I feel like they're inflated based on the culture that is played today, where it's just because every little – I mean, James Harden, imagine if they called fouls like they did back in the 80s with James Harden. I mean, he'd be a G League player. He wouldn't even be able to make it without fouls.
Half of his points come off free throws.
It's true. And so the same thing, like the 3-point shots. I mean, yeah, again, if you throw a 3-point line for Jerry West, I mean.
So, like, I would argue that if we're building a team that plays the best together instead of, like, the greatest of all time, I would pick Clay or, like, Reggie Miller or maybe Ray Allen for that shooting guard spot. A guy who could play off ball with Magic.
Right. Well, that's that interesting discussion for me because Jordan was never not the guy. In his entire career, the team was built around Jordan. Kobe, for a while, was not the guy. I mean, one might even argue that, like, well, I mean, when Powell was on the team, it was still Kobe's team.
He was the guy. Yeah.
But when it was Shaq's team, I mean, even at the end when it was supposed to be Kobe's team instead of Shaq's team, it was still Shaq's team. So that, I mean, Kobe didn't like that, it doesn't sound, but, you know, that is that one argument along those lines, Mike, I think, for like playing together. Could Kobe have fit in a system that was not featuring him, like number one? All right, let's move along to small forward now. So let's start with Mike, small forward.
This is the hardest one, man. This is like 5 guys. This is like
really?
Bird, LeBron, KD, who else? Scottie Pippen.
Wow.
And then Rick Barry was my 5th.
Okay. Who's number 1?
It's Bird or James, and I go with LeBron. All time.
See, and that's where I got to go because, you know, I love the classic players, and I did put my number 3, the one I think you missed, Dr. J, Julius Irving. I think
Jay was a scorer.
Exactly. As far as an unstoppable scorer, like I'm going to take I don't think you can stop Dr. J. Same thing with Larry Bird. Larry Bird, you know, transcended, and Dr. J too. Dr. J kind of transcended the game and took it to another level, kind of like Curry has done today, or I guess you could say James Harden is doing today. But number 1, and that's the thing, like every statistic that you look at, and just like you got to pick LeBron. I mean, like, the guy can, you know, do everything. He's got the rings now. He's just like, and not only that, because that was one challenge when some of these statistics that I was looking at, they have a shorter, like even like Steph Curry, like 5-6 years from now, if Curry keeps up, like gets healthy again and does this whole thing, you could make a case that he'll beat Magic, but he just doesn't have the pedigree yet. So same thing with LeBron. LeBron does have the pedigree. Like, I got to give it to LeBron, number 1. Carter?
Yeah, to me, only 2 names came to mind, which was Larry Bird and LeBron James. But if you ask me who my GOAT is, LeBron James is my GOAT. Even before he came to the Lakers. Yeah, I don't think there's any – for me, there's no debate here. It's got to be LeBron James, just unstoppable.
Fair enough, man. Dirks?
Yeah, I gotta go with LeBron. I honestly didn't even think about anyone else. He was a lock for me. It was an easy pick.
Okay, and Charlie?
LeBron. I mean, Kawhi might fit better like on my team, but LeBron's the greatest of all time at small forward.
Kawhi, if Kawhi keeps it up for
Kawhi
the
needs
rest
another
of his
10 years of
career, then yeah, then he's up there in the talks. But
See, the crazy
like-
thing for me now, and I'm interested for you, Charlie, as a Spurs fan. So you've watched a lot of Kawhi. Is that
Yeah.
watching Kawhi now as a Clippers fan? The crazy thing about Kawhi does not take over games. Like, I'm always surprised at the end of the game that Kawhi has 30 points because he doesn't just like take over and just like and
It's quiet.
he's
It's a
making
quiet 30.
jump shots. He's making that little turnaround thing
Yep.
that he does, and it's just like, and all of a sudden he's got 30 points. And I feel like that watching him, he doesn't feel like a superstar. Like you watch LeBron, and LeBron just will explode, or Curry, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I wonder if that's that was always how I felt about Blake Griffin. Blake very rarely took over games, especially after he got hurt. And yet he would end up with 25, 30 points a game. And I wonder if that hurts your pedigree as far as
See, I don't think it hurts the pedigree because not only is like Kawhi getting like a quiet 30, but like not like many small forwards like you guys like stated is having to guard the other team's best player night in and night out. Like sometimes the Lakers might hide LeBron on like a kind of a worse player so he can do his thing on offense, and that's what
Right.
most teams do with offensive stars. They try to like not make their offensive stars exert the energy on the defensive end, but like Kawhi, he guards the other team's best player every night and locks him down, or at least tries, and does a pretty good job.
yeah.
So if he can score that quiet 30 and lock another team's best player down, I think that's like super valuable.
See, and for me with a small forward, my question is always because and that's even going between a shooting guard and a small forward. I feel like the difference is a shooting guard should shoot and pass, and a small forward should shoot and rebound. And LeBron shoots passes and rebounds. So whereas Kawhi, I don't think Kawhi's the passer that LeBron is. So like, is that a good thing for a small forward, or does that not really matter for a small
I
forward?
don't think passing matters too much.
Really?
Yeah, I think with
For a
wings,
small
it's kind of
forward.
like scoring and defense. That's more of like the idea for small forwards
Mhm.
at this time.
'Cause
well, no,
the
and
same thing-
LeBron just has different like evolutions of himself. Like he could, if he needs to facilitate and take over, if Magic's like just not,
He could get
he's
26.
gonna do it. Like he can be point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power. He could
Right.
do anything on the floor.
Well, and that's see, for me, that almost feels like more like a sixth man sort of a thing. 'Cause then you get your
I can see
utility
that.
guy. Because
yeah.
how valuable is it? Like that was always, and again, like we've talked about with the Clippers, that was always the frustration for me when the Clippers had Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. Blake is a great passer who never needed to pass. You've got Chris Paul. So like you put LeBron with, Lonzo Ball, like one of them doesn't need to pass anymore, right? Because LeBron or
It's like
you
when
put
Rondo and
LeBron
LeBron
was
are
holding
on
them back, man. LeBron was holding them
Rondo, come on.
Tablespoon or so.
No, I mean like that was just like similar. Like why are they both on the court at the same time if they're both doing the same thing?
Right.
Yeah.
That's why Rondo doesn't play anymore.
Exactly. That's why
I guess
Caruso the
that's
goat plays.
Old man
Like that goat.
Caruso.
I mean, they're not playing anymore.
Caruso. All positions.
The homie right
All
there.
positions.
Caruso's a bum.
All right, now here's the interesting one for
Nah,
me.
bro.
Power forward. Let's start with
Better than
Charlie
me.
this time. Power forward all time.
Going Tim Duncan.
So
No, you're not Charlie. You're
power forward for me, I did have Tim Duncan because like he was like an elite scorer, plus he could defend, and at his time the 3-pointer wasn't like as dominant, so he could catch it in the high post, the
light it.
jab step, hit the mid range, hit some clutch shots. But like I feel like also like what was also so helpful about him is most NBA teams like ice the pick and roll, so he would be able to just jump around the elbow pocket, kind of like for a pick and pop, and he was able to hit that shot a lot, which is versatile because when teams like ice the pick and roll, like that takes away the big's roll to the hoop. So like for him being able to like slip in that pocket and hit those shots for them, it was like really clutch, I feel like, and it helped them win championships.
Yep. Okay. Matthew Dirks.
I wanted to go Tim Duncan, but I had to go with my boy Dirk Nowitzki. I just feel like
Okay.
he was the very first power forward in my eyes that was expanded the range and was
That's true.
part of the 3-point evolution. And I think what he did in the playoffs is my big thing for Dirk. So he really turned it up when he had to. So
Okay. Cardizel.
All right, this might be a little bit of a shocker, but to me, this pick was more like Charlie's thing, like who would be like the most successful. And I know he's like not an all-time player yet, but I chose Giannis Antetokounmpo as my power forward.
Is Giannis a power forward?
He's a small
Yes.
forward. Man.
He's
I
well,
thought you were gonna
look
say
at that.
Anthony Davis.
that's
for a second.
interchangeable.
He plays
All
power
right.
forward in my team.
I got a challenge.
That's interchangeable. Just because I don't know, I feel like Giannis could score on Tim Duncan and Dirk Nowitzki. That's it. That's all it is to me. He's getting points, and he can stop them
Yeah,
on
but
defense
Dirk can
too,
score on them too, probably.
I guess. But
Yeah. All
I
right.
think
All right.
Giannis saw more success.
All right. That's. So I'm gonna log a challenge. I'm not sure he qualifies, but that's your vote, so that's cool. So for me, like this was the toughest one because it was. I think this is another one where most big men historically have either been like bumped up or down or whatever to small forward or up to center. Like you go into the 60s and stuff like that, you don't see a whole lot of power forwards. I mean, they talk about Charles Barkley, which for me, he was so small, I would probably put him as a small forward. Kind of like you were saying, Matt, I think the challenge is that people don't play big much anymore, so we don't get a whole lot of big power forwards. So I wanted to do Duncan because for me, it's that bank shot. That bank shot was almost unstoppable. But having watched him play, and not only that, had him on my fantasy team, I got to go Kevin Garnett. The big ticket was so, like, he could do everything. He was, like, and pounding the stats there on the Timberwolves, and just, like, you know, from a young age, I put Malone number 3, I put Duncan number 2, and Garnett's my number 1. Mike Harris.
And a good performance in Uncut Gems.
And that's important too.
See, like the problem I had with power forward is there's a lot of guys who play center who I would want to play power forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would want to put Hakeem here because he was kind of an undersized center who I think would be perfect as a modern power forward. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Garnett too, just because he can guard every position. He's faster. He's more dominant scorer. Like Tim's a better defender, but not by much. And yeah, so Kevin Garnett is my guy.
There you go.
What makes Garnett a better scorer than Tim Duncan in your eyes?
Because he could actually, like, he was a drive, like he had a threat from outside. He could shoot and he could drive in and score on anybody.
Yeah.
KD was a post-up player.
He was more explosive, I would say. See, Garnett for me was another one of those like Kawhi, where he was a quiet 30, where you wouldn't even know that he.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad part is that the greatest shot of Tim Duncan's career was upstaged by Derek Fisher's .3.
Oh yeah.
So that I mean, he's got the rings, and I feel like too, I don't think he gets the credit for the rings. Kind of like Bill Russell seems to get more credit, even though, like, I think he say it was because of the Celtics. Same thing. I mean, Duncan's got the rings, but it was because he was, I guess he was the star on that team. But it seems like people were talking about Ginobili or about Parker. Or,
I think also like the craziest part is like the Spurs went from going like 20-60 to like the year he got drafted, they turned into like a 55-win team when they were like a 20-win team the year before that.
That's
As
true.
a rookie, he got like them so many more wins.
That was also because David Robinson was hurt that
Exactly.
whole year.
And I
That
think the
is
two
true,
of them
but-
playing together, the Twin Towers, that was pretty nasty.
35 more wins. Like
So none of you guys had Dirk in your top 3?
I had him top 5.
Oh.
5?
I'd put him top 5.
I had Tim
because-
Duncan as my 2.
Like I would have, like legitimately, if his career keeps going this way, I think Anthony Davis is a more talented player than almost anybody that's been power
Yeah.
forward.
He's got the
It's such a
stats,
short career.
but it's a short career. Well, it's the same thing. So then looking, Carter, it looks
I know.
like the last 3 years, it looks like Antetokounmpo has been listed as a power forward.
Acampo, Jeff. Acampo.
That's what I said, Antetokounmpo.
No, Acampo.
No, it's not.
Antetokounmpo.
Kumpo?
Acampo.
Kumbo?
All right, we're not.
Antetokounmpo.
Whatever. So anyway, so apparently rookie year, small forward, sophomore shooting guard, then his third year point guard, and then a small forward, and then 3 years. So it looks like next year
So
He
he's not a
technically-
power forward ever.
Well,
He's
no,
a-
he's
he's
been
a point
last 2
forward.
years.
Because what's their starting lineup? It's Bledsoe.
Yeah, and technically his last
Pat
Bledsoe,
Connaughton, I don't know.
Middleton.
he's been listed power forward
DiVincenzo.
more than
DiVincenzo.
anything else.
Does DiVincenzo start?
Yeah, he started a lot
Okay,
of
yeah,
games
then
this year.
Middleton's the
Okay,
3 and
then-
Giannis is the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I would
Lopez is
say-
the
I
five.
could get behind that.
Yeah, I would say though, then it's pedigree. It's like he's got to do it 5 or 6
I know.
more years.
I know,
and
but
then
I
I'm
think he
behind
can.
you. Same thing
I
though
think
with
he
Anthony
can.
Davis.
we let Charlie put KD at shooting guard when he's listed at his rookie year. He was a shooting guard.
Oh, I didn't say I let him. I mean,
Oh,
Charlie
okay.
just did it.
I think that's
Okay,
a
okay,
prediction.
okay.
I think
It's up to
Giannis
him.
will play out to be better than
Yeah.
Tim Duncan.
Well, see, because it's the challenge that the power forward's a different position now. Like you're saying, Matt.
Yeah.
Like if you
That's
want to
true.
compare it to today, where everybody's got to shoot the 3,
Then I want
yeah,
Dirk.
Dirk would be probably the best 3 here.
Yeah,
Now,
I still want Tim Duncan.
oh yeah, if you're gonna put Dirk 1-on-1 against Duncan, Duncan's gonna crush him. Like
Facts.
other than like pulling him out to the 3-point line and that.
Yeah, but we're spacing the floor. We've got Magic and LeBron, 2 of the greatest passers ever. Like,
Yeah,
the
but then
floor
who's gonna get
space
your
and then he gets
rebounds?
to the rim.
Dirk's not
my
gonna get
centers
you your
don't get my
rebounds.
rebounds.
Bro,
Oh.
Magic, LeBron, and MJ can rebound just as good as
So
them.
they're gonna rebound instead of your power.
and Dirk can
Anyway.
rebound, and my center can rebound. So
Yeah.
No, I have 4 Lakers. in
And my
top
6
5.
man.
I believe you. All right.
Biggest franchise
So
of
last
all
but
time.
not
rebounding's
least,
not a problem.
last but not least, or not last, we're gonna do a 6-man too. So second to last, center position, Michael Harris.
This one's hard. There's like 5 guys that could do it.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot.
Got to go with Shaq because Shaq is like
Yes,
unstoppable.
sir.
Because of
Nobody
what?
could like. You can't stop Shaq. Like nobody could stop Shaq. No center at their prime can stop Shaq. So
No center at their. Okay.
like
we'll get
not
into
even
that
like
one.
David Robinson, the best defensive center in the league, couldn't stop him. So
Watch him.
There you
yeah,
go.
and so like
So-
it's him or like Kareem's good. Kareem's another option, but again, like I think Shaq. Like Wilt played against Scrubs, dude.
oh, come
Exactly.
on.
I knew it. That's what I was going to say. He played against
Jeff's better than
Harris,
he did.
you don't know squat.
Jeff
All right,
is
so now
better.
it is my turn.
He
So,
played against Mailman.
so along those lines, I will agree. Well, no, I'll disagree with a lot of it, but I'll agree with the part that I think this is the toughest one of all of them because historically there are so many dominant centers. There aren't any today, I don't think. I mean, Embiid would be the closest, but he's not going to be
Steven Adams.
anywhere near.
Come on, man.
Hold on.
Dwight Howard.
He's gonna be.
Aaron Baines.
Oh my! This is
Davis
painful.
Bertans.
Zubac. Davis
Luke
Bertans is not a
Longley.
center, Carter.
So I gotta put I would say greatest defensive. Well, not only defensive, greatest defensive, probably rebounder of all time has got to be Bill Russell, and
Yeah.
shockingly number 3, because number 2. Maybe I would argue more unstoppable than Shaq is going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because no one ever figured out how to stop the skyhook. And if you ever watch a game of those, even like what is it? I was watching the '88 series against the Pistons the other night, and it was like, why don't you always shoot the skyhook? Because it always goes in, and no one can ever like put an arm up or anything like that. And greatest scorer of all time, obviously, but he's got to be number 2 because the most unstoppable force in the history of the NBA was
gonna say
obviously
Wilt.
Wilt Chamberlain. Oh, of course, of course. And Wilt,
Wait,
you put him in any decade
All right, Jeff's
ever.
disqualified. No more.
Oh,
This
get
is-
out of here!
This is the
man.
entire reason Jeff wanted to do this. Just to
You wanted to
is.
just
Yeah.
put Wilt.
It is.
No
Well,
more.
'cause there should be no debate, man. Look at his
Oh my
stats, and it's just like
That's
it's
against a bunch of high
because he's
schoolers.
playing bums,
That's
dude.
so
Yeah, he's
like
playing
just
mailmen and
no.
substitute
Look at the
teachers.
stats. That was the era where well, anyway, we can get into this argument in a second, but anyway. So moving on, my number 1's Wilt Chamberlain. Carter Zell.
Yeah, my number 1. Okay, to be fair, I haven't seen a lot of those like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain play just because that was not like my era, and I know Shaq was my era either, but like I'd watch like the highlights or whatever in the finals, and yeah, he's just unstoppable. He played against competition too, and he proved that he could get it done. Three-peated, and yeah, I guess he kind of was the main guy on that team too. I'd say the go-to guy, but yeah, Shaquille O'Neal.
2 votes for Shaq. All right, Matthew Dirks.
See, whoever said that this was the hardest one, I can agree. I'm torn between Bill Russell, Kareem, and Shaq. I want to go Russell because 11 rings, best defensive rebounder ever. Whoever said that, great defender. I don't need him to score, but I think I'm gonna go with Kareem. Who else went Kareem? Was that Mike? No, Mike went Shaq.
I said Kareem too.
Whoever said, okay.
I had him.
Just as Mike said, the shot is unstoppable, and he's 7'2", too long, too lanky, too good of a defender. I don't think anyone can stop him. Most points ever. So that's my
LeBron will catch him.
Makes sense. All right, Charlie.
Okay, I'm gonna have to agree with Dirks on this one, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because Shaq was dominant, but you got to think about it this way: when Kareem, they literally made a rule that you weren't allowed to dunk because of Kareem. So he couldn't go up and just dunk it like Shaq every time. He had to like get craftier ways of scoring around the hoop. So he had to do the sky hook. He had good post moves with good mini post hook. Like if you can't dunk as a center, like if they're changing a whole rule about dunking for you, I don't know. I think that's like a pretty big deal. And he had such a successful career. So.
Although to be fair, they did change a bunch of rules. They made the defensive 3 seconds, and they made those rules for Shaq. So
Yeah.
But I would argue that I don't think Shaq faced competition. I mean, Shaq faced old man Robinson. He faced old man Hakeem Olajuwon. His look at the championships. Like who did the Pacers had like Bradley as their center.
Roy Hibbert.
Hibbert, yeah. I mean, like they were decent defensive centers, but to the caliber.
Hibbert
of
was
Shaquille
defensive
O'Neal,
player of the year.
Yeah, but I don't know. But also, who is he guarding other than Shaq? I mean, for me, that was always that thing about Yao Ming.
Yeah.
Is that everyone was so high on Yao because they're like, finally, someone's going to stand up to Shaq, and Shaq pulverized him. I mean, nothing. And I mean, I'm not bashing on Shaq. Shaq was awesome, but I feel like it's almost like you put. Well, I got to throw it in here. You put Chamberlain today. I think Chamberlain's going to run over the competition because there's who's going to guard him. Who's going to guard him?
But you can say that about. I can say the same thing about Kareem.
That's true.
In my lifetime, in my lifetime, there hasn't been like a great center. The best center in my lifetime is probably like Dwight Howard when he was on the Magic.
Well, your lifetime would include Shaq, but I know what you mean.
You know what I mean. Like,
mine is
old
Boris
enough
Diaw.
to understand. Old enough.
Boris Diaw. Yeah.
Maybe Kendrick Perkins on the Thunder, but
okay.
Well, so what? You don't think Embiid? You give Embiid 10 more
AD
years?
is better than Embiid.
Who?
Anthony Davis.
Is Anthony Davis a center?
He can play.
No,
I think
he's a power
Thiago
forward.
Splitter.
Okay.
I was calling power forward, but
Thiago Splitter might be top 5 for me.
Thiago is up there with
Taco
who's
Fall.
what
Facts.
LeBron did to
Taco Fall.
Thiago was pretty nice. Yeah.
There are so many scrubs
Or
that play
Jokic,
center.
he's
It's
too fat for
embarrassing.
me. If Jokic was skinnier, he might get the job done.
Slim him down.
Jokic.
Too chubby.
Jokic is an interesting. Well, because he's a pass-first guy too.
And
If
I
you
like
guys
that.
watch him
Bonus.
play.
I like that.
See,
Sabonis? You said Sabonis?
oh, that's not a bad comparison.
No, like
He's
Arvydas
taller than
Sabonis.
Sabonis.
Oh,
though.
his dad, DeMontis' dad.
Right. So, see,
Alright,
Sabonis
so
was always too short for me.
But like Jokic
Yeah.
is only like 6'10".
And Jokic has some nice handles too.
But I thought
just like
Sabonis was even shorter than that, wasn't he? He looked
No.
shorter. Maybe it was just because he was next to Shaq, and so then he looked short and small.
Ilya Gauskas was
Old.
also very good.
The bonus was 7'3".
Was he really? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
He's a
was.
good shooter too, right?
Dang. So I will throw in just one last thing,
Manute
though.
Bol.
Manute Bol or Taco Falls, right?
Taco Fall.
Ball.
They need to actually
Give him more
have
minutes.
skills, though. Oh, but what about my boy, Bobby, Boban Marjanovic,
Oh,
man.
Boban Marjanovic.
Oh, Boban. I don't know why no one will give that kid a chance, but
John Wick.
Because he can't guard on a pick
I
and
will
roll.
point out so that one, and Matt, because Matt and I have had this discussion, is that one, if you're going to bash on Chamberlain for saying he was playing against scrubs, he was playing against Bill Russell. So you can't say Bill Russell is great and Wilt is not.
I
How
don't.
many times a season?
2,
11 rings, baby.
oh, that's true.
How many
because,
Wilt have?
He had
because
the
of look,
most
he had what,
stacked
2,
team,
3?
though.
Yeah, but how many MVPs did he have? How many
I'm pretty
times
sure
did
Russell had Russell had
his
He was on a
number,
stack
but,
team.
I want to say.
but you look at how many Wilt had, and how many times did he score 100 points in a game?
5
I think-
MVPs. Come
I
on.
think on average, everybody today is pretty much better than everybody 50 years ago.
True.
See, that's so Kevin Hart talking, man. And what
Kevin Hart.
now? That's
What?
true because he's the one that tweeted out that what's his name on the Thunder? What's the guy's name with the big nose?
Shit.
Thunder?
Yeah, isn't he on the Thunder?
With the big
Cantor.
nose?
Enos Cantor.
Oh, Ennis Cantor?
Oh,
He said that that was his tweet, is that Enos Cantor could have been a Hall of Famer in the 60s. And that's
Probably
just-
could have.
No,
If
that's
you
just
put that guy
ignorance.
today, back then,
No, it's just ignorance.
Probably.
Because
Jeff.
you look at virtually every team, and I've done this. You can go through the list. Virtually every team had a Hall of Fame center because that was the era where you had to have a big man, and they were almost all 6'10" or taller, and yet Wilt ran them over.
Jeff,
I think
Jeff,
we see his numbers today, and we think there's no way. But watch Matt saw that one thing of him. What was it? Didn't he catch the block and then lead a fast break? He was unbelievable, and that was in high school. But
Alright. Okay,
if you
but
can find
you
video.
brought up the MVPs, and Wilt has 4 when Russell has 5.
okay,
So-
but nonetheless, and yet somehow Russell beat out both Wilt when he averaged 50 points a game, and the Big O when he averaged a triple double, and they gave it to Russell. Come on.
And 11
they
rings
robbed
to
Kobe
2.
too.
Oh, I know, but don't get because poor or not poor, but Wilt was on some crappy teams. All right, last but not least. So now I did want to talk about sixth man.
This one's hard.
So with this one, and this is what I wasn't necessarily
I have
saying
mine.
the greatest sixth man of all time. You could say that. So if you wanted to throw out like a Lou Williams or a Ginobili or whatever,
Manu.
I'm not doing it that way.
but I'm just saying, if you had a starting lineup, who would you want to be your sixth man? Who would you want if you could pick anybody to come off your bench? And this could be a little tricky because, like, you think about like, I want Michael Jordan to come off the bench. I don't think Michael Jordan would have been the same player. I don't think he can do what Lou Williams could do because that's not how he was built. But I'll leave it up to you guys, and we'll start with Charlie, sixth man.
Okay. My sixth man was kind of tough, but like when it came down to it, I needed you need someone who could play like a forward position. So I had to go with my guy Larry Bird because like he's like a power forward like nowadays, kind of like not like a big
Stretch
and
4.
yeah, kind of in a way. And like he was just like so crafty, and he had like he could shoot it like nobody else could. He was like super crafty, great passer. Like he could come into the game and make an impact like right away. Like some guys might come in and be quiet, but I feel like he would start hitting shots, making plays. Like he's a playmaking sharpshooter in my eyes, which I think is a very valuable component to a six man.
Good one. All right, Matthew Dirks.
As much as it pains me to say, I had to go with Kevin Durant because I think he may be the greatest scorer to live. He's 7 foot, handles it like any good guard, shoots it just as good as anyone, and good defender when it comes down to it. In the championship, he'll always try to lock down the best player on the other team. And I think because he can play the 3, the 4, he can even play center with his height and length. So
He can play the two.
yeah, and he can play the 2, as Charlie thinks. So maybe even point guard if you want to go. But I think just the versatility and the Swiss Army knife of Kevin Durant on defense, being able to switch with everyone, and yeah, greatest scorer ever maybe. So
All right, Cardizel.
Well, to me, the sixth man, when I think of a sixth man, you need to like have a spark off the bench. And you also need to be able to shoot, at least when I think of a sixth man. So I chose the greatest shooter of all time in Stephen Curry. I feel like him coming off the bench like wouldn't affect his style of play because, you know, he doesn't need to handle the ball on my team. But like all time wise, I still think he'd be a good pick for the sixth man just because he can just shoot lights out, bring that spark off the bench that we need. And yeah, Steph Curry.
That is true because at Davidson, he is playing off the ball literally every single possession, running off 5 screens every time.
There you go. So for me, I'm going to actually, my number 2, because there was 2 thoughts that I had of what do you want coming off the bench with a sixth man. And I'd agree with you, Matt. If I wanted a shooter, if I wanted a scorer, then Kevin Durant. Like, I think, yeah, you're right. He's volume scorer, big time, like tall, lanky, hard to guard, everything like that. But he'd be my number 2 because for me, I think more important than that is that Swiss Army knife. I want someone that can shoot, that can rebound, that can pass, that can do it all. I got to go with the big O, Oscar Robertson, coming off my bench because I think he could guard anybody. He could play any position and pass and shoot and score like anybody. Michael Harris.
Okay.
Oscar Robinson was 6'5", dude. He couldn't
He's not
guard
playing
everybody.
center.
Oh, yes, he could. Well, anyway, I'm sorry. Continue. Your pick.
I like mine were between 2, KD for the scoring, or if I did want somebody who could like literally come off, do the spark of defense, like get the team going, it'd be Scottie Pippen.
So
What was
Because
your number
he could KD.
Oh, KD. So number 2 is Scotty. Okay, go ahead.
I thought you were saying your number 1 was Scotty. Okay.
Yeah, both of them are great defenders. Scotty's a better defender, but like KD's got the scoring and the height, and yeah, so I go KD.
All right.
So
That's
nobody.
my pick.
Well, I
like
guess
KD.
it's so nobody wants a defensive or rebounding specialist, right? You don't.
I
want a
was
big man.
thinking about Dennis Rodman.
Dennis, yeah, I was thinking Dennis
Rodman.
Rodman.
Could
Rodman
Rodman
would be
like-
my
guard?
specialist.
But Rodman couldn't guard anybody. fast, right?
Rodman's got that dog in him. He could guard anyone
does.
he wanted.
It's true.
Last
He
couple
could-
years he couldn't, but like early in his career he
Yeah,
was
but-
guarding everybody.
Like he got the determination. He got like the dog, and also like I feel like if he came in and like started like being toxic, that's like just like a bad, like a good vibe to have. Like
It's true.
because like if I had Kawhi as my small forward and I brought him in for Duncan, like that, like he's gonna get in
Why?
people's head and he's gonna start getting people mad. Like, and he's just such a like I want someone who will do the dirty work.
Hmm,
Like we could have Kareem score, but we need Rodman to do all the dirty work on the defensive end.
interesting. And no one's going with Draymond Green, huh?
No, okay, I was
Oh,
about to
no.
say, to me, if
Oh
Dennis
my,
Rodman
Carter,
was
Carter,
a dollar, Draymond Green would be 1 cent just because he talks so much trash and he sucks. He averages single, or a triple single, whatever Charles Barkley.
Yeah, but
If
he's-
you put Draymond Green on any other team, like if he wasn't drafted by the Warriors and he was on any other team in his career, he'd be a nobody.
He'd
No,
be like
he's-
a $7 million year
no.
He'd be a
player.
nobody.
but this-
Draymond's underraid. Draymond's a
No.
glue guy. He's
Dude,
like
he's
a great
the one
defender.
that makes it. He's the one that made their death lineup work because he could slow down a center.
Because
He's
he
like
knows
Pat
his
how
Bev,
role.
to
but even worse than Pat Bev.
Whoa!
Right.
Whoa,
Every player needs
Draymond
a
is a
star.
bum.
Every
So
player
is Pat
needs a
Bev.
second star, and like
Mm.
Draymond, he
Draymond's not a
can't do it
star.
himself. Yeah, he is. He was an all-star
No, he's
3
not a
times.
star.
He averages a triple single.
He
Yeah,
also
but
almost
it's like-
averaged a quintuple double.
I know. Remember
Not anymore.
what was it? Kirilenko, AK-47.
Okay,
But the
Andre
guy,
Kirilenko, but
he
he
could
had a
do
shot.
a little bit of everything. Nothing big. He's not going to score you 20, but so is that
Draymond
Draymond?
cannot shoot. In the playoffs, he was getting
Yeah.
exposed.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. He wasn't much of a shooter, but
But the
Yeah, and he
greatest
clearly
six
can't do
man of
anything
all
without
time is
Curry
Manu
or
Ginobili.
Clay.
yeah.
Ginobili
I don't
was
know
a
if the
starter.
If
numbers,
we're going, if we're going,
I don't know if the
greatest
numbers
six
bear that
man,
out, man. Sweet Lou Williams.
Lou Williams is not the greatest six
What
man of all
about-
time.
What
Statistically,
about
he
Dennis
is.
Schroeder?
Dude, and he's got more 4-point plays than anybody, whatever that means.
That is
Okay,
that
four
just
point
think
plays,
makes
but
you
how
the
many rings
greatest.
does he have?
Yeah, but
Six man rings. I
how
don't think they need
responsible
rings.
is a sixth man for the ring?
It's true.
Very responsible, actually.
Well,
I actually agree with Charlie on that. I think a six man is a big part of a championship team.
Right, but are you going to
Oh,
say
for
that
sure.
rings are an important part of
I don't think rings.
judging?
Yeah, because KD's rings mean nothing, and he's my six man. So
Lou Will could be the best sixth man on the terrible team and never win any rings, but he's still the best sixth man.
Yeah,
McHale
well,
was the best 6 man.
I mean, the team is that terrible.
Kevin McHale.
was he a sixth man?
I thought he started.
Oh.
Nope.
Oh, shoot.
Well, it
terrible
is-
coach.
It is that thing which is tough. Like, there's no way of knowing like how somebody comes off the bench, and like it's tough. I mean, they've even had people that just can't do that, and especially like score 20 off the bench is a rare thing. So
Like with Ginobili, like I've seen games where like they had like a terrible start. They'd be down like 15-2.
yeah,
They put him in for Danny Green or whatever, and all of a sudden the score would be 20-14 or 20-16, and the game is like all of a sudden super close because he just brings that spark. He probably has the most unstoppable Euro step of all time. He is just an insane player.
Unstoppable.
Wait, who'd you say, Chad?
Ginobili.
Manu.
No one can
Oh,
stop the
okay.
zero step.
Just because
Right.
you're a Spurs fan? Okay.
But
I
okay,
mean,
who's a better six man?
I know.
It's
Okay,
true.
Ginobili's
It's-
up there. Ginobili's
It's
up there. I'll
not.
give you that.
It's hard to argue as far as someone that no. It was always that weird thing. It's the same thing with Lou Will. Is that like shouldn't they be starting? Like Manu was definitely one of the
Yeah, they
best
could easily start.
people on the team, but he didn't start because
Because
he was
Danny Green was a
able-
better fit
Yeah.
with the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Because
It's
they
like
already
Montrez
had
could
Tony and
easily
Tim
start
and
over
Kawhi
Zubac.
scoring.
Yeah.
They needed a good shooter, and then once they weren't scoring, you bring Manu in, and then it's a whole different game.
Right, but
Scoring.
then even earlier, like before Kawhi was a thing, like Manu might have fit better. But
Well, then at the end of the game, who's on the floor? Danny Green or Manu Ginobili?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Maybe both.
Manu's on the floor.
that's true. Maybe both.
Could be both, but
Depends on the season.
Yeah. Danny Green a little overrated in my book.
Wow,
he was
as
on
a
the
Laker?
Spurs really
He's
good.
a Laker. I know.
he's your best shooter, Carter.
He's
He's
your
your only
only
shooter.
shooter.
Yeah, he's your only shooter.
KCP is also
You guys
a
got
little
rid of
overrated.
Troy Daniels.
Troy Daniels is just not it.
Isn't
Kyle
what's his name a
Kuzma.
shooter? Isn't
Hey, Kuzma. I miss
Caldwell
Kuzma.
Pope? No.
Caldwell Pope.
I
is
like
shooter.
Caldwell Pope. I like Caldwell Pope.
That guy's not even that bad.
I just think Danny Green's getting paid $15 million to shoot the three ball, and to me, just doesn't hit it enough.
He's a
Well,
really
he
good
wanted. He was
defender.
on a championship team last year, Carter.
I don't know about his
Could have joined the.
percentages, but
He
when
could
I'm
have joined the
watching
Clippers
game,
with Kawhi, and then you would hate him.
when I'm watching the
Stop
game,
hating on the
he
boy.
shoots a big shot and he just bricks it, dude. And I start like punching.
What about
the
that
pillow.
shot he hit against the Mavs to send it to OT?
Okay, that was prime Danny Green.
I was
That
watching
prime.
prime Danny Green.
That was good stuff right there.
But he's like made all defensive teams too. Like he's a good defender.
Has he? I
Yeah.
doubt
Also,
He's
he
made, like,
runs
second team
so
all defense.
weird. He runs so weird. If you look at him run, he runs like a
Is
dove.
that-
It's so weird.
That's why he loses
He
points
has
in
been-
your
hey,
book. 'Cause he
Danny
runs
Green has
weird?
made an all-defensive team.
Did you ever watch
Avery
Rodman
Bradley's the
run
best.
though?
I love Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley
Rodman
is like,
runs like a stork.
Perfect.
It was great. I think a weird run is an important thing in a player, personally.
he like flops it. He's like it's so weird, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
that's good.
2017, Danny Green was second team all
Yeah,
defense.
I didn't know that. If
Yeah.
we're going best six-man today, it's definitely Dennis Schroeder.
You and Schroeder,
It's
man.
still Lou. Like
Isn't
what?
it
Still
Schroeder?
Lou.
Schroeder?
Right now
Dennis
it's Lou, man.
Schroeder.
Schroeder.
Lou is just a bucket.
It's true. How do you
I haven't
argue
heard
against
anything about
the,
Lou this year.
the two-time?
Everyone was sleeping on the Thunder, and we're better. We're even better this year, man.
Yeah.
Because of Chris
Good.
Paul. Chris
They
Paul.
might get a
19-4 and
6
4.
seed.
Guy is
Dennis
That's
Schroeder off the
not
bench,
hard on your team,
19-4 and
Bert.
4. Jeff, you
All
don't want to
right.
meet us in the playoffs, man. all
Oh,
I'm saying.
well, anyway.
Hey,
If
the
we
Mavs
have
would have
one.
knocked you guys out of the playoffs, Jeff. Just saying.
Mavs. Oh my.
Well,
God.
they were the 7 seed. You guys were the 2 seed.
All right, my friends. Well, I need something. Does anybody have any like poignant thing that we can end the recording on that you want to say?
Lonzo Ball will be greater
Oh my
than
gosh.
every single point guard.